Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement. Hello again and welcome to the program Agriculture on the Move. My name is Phillip Sydney. Today we are blessed to have two distinguished gentlemen. To my immediate right is the Honorable Ezechiel Joseph. He's the Minister responsible for Agriculture, Fisheries, Physical Planning, Natural Resources and Cooperatives. Next to him is Mr. Bernard Cornibert, who is the CEO for Winfresh. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And of course, today we are here to discuss bananas and other crops, as it were. Mr. Minister, when you came in almost 2 years ago, and I know you had a vision among many other projects, but the banana sector was one of your main tasks. And a lot has been done, I know, within that space of time. Could you tell St. Lucia exactly where you are right now?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you very much for the opportunity to be here once again. And I'm happy that the CEO for Winfresh is here with us as it pertains to discussions on the involvement of Winfresh supporting the agricultural policies of the government of St. Lucia and, of course, the Windward Islands. Today, we will more or less concentrate on how Winfresh can support agriculture in St. Lucia. Like you said, 2 years ago, when we came in as a government, there were a number of programs that we decided that we would put in place to support our stakeholders, the rural folks, as it pertains to agricultural development, and of course for us to see how we can reduce on our food import bill. We look at a number of programs: livestock, vegetables, fisheries. Forestry is also important because forestry is back under the Ministry of Agriculture, water resource management, and the banana industry. I must say that based on the feedback so far and based on the progress so far, we are moving slowly towards our goals, notwithstanding that we have what we call the unforeseen climate change, which is impacting very negatively on the agricultural sector. And we would realize that in 2017, the results show the impact of climate change. The results show the impact of the tropical storm Thomas on the agricultural sector, whilst it did not affect the other sectors, for example, tourism and manufacturing and construction. It really affected agriculture. So that's another area that we really have to concentrate on moving forward in our planning. And I remember the Prime Minister saying, look, Minister, we have to look at and take on board what we call a resilient agricultural approach. And that is what we're really looking at. But definitely, I must say that based on the feedback that we're receiving from our farmers, is very encouraging. And I must also speak to the support we get from a number of organizations that is giving support. For example, Winfresh, I just spoke about Winfresh, ICA, CARDI, FAO, OECS, all of them giving us the support and meeting to discuss and to plan as to how we move forward as it pertains to agriculture.
Well, one of the things that has borne fruit, especially with the establishment of the Banana Productivity Improvement Project, when they came in, they started working with approximately 286 farmers, and that has grown tremendously, almost 100% plus, to 726 farmers. Did you foresee that happening?
Well, I mean, based on our observation coming out of Tropical Storm Matthew experience, when we went out there, the farmers did not wait for the Ministry of Agriculture. The farmers did not wait for government to assist them in rehabilitating. And that was very encouraging. That was a positive sign. It shows the level of confidence the farmers have as far as our policies are concerned, not only bananas, but general agriculture. And that is why we agreed with the support of Winfresh to look at a banana rehabilitation program. And I've always said, and Mr. Cornibert, they can speak to it, I've always said that based on discussions with Winfresh, they are interested in purchasing bananas from St. Lucia. Based on the visit the Prime Minister and myself had to the UK, meeting with a number of organizations, and based on my own intervention and interaction with a number of organizations or supermarkets, they are interested in our bananas, right? So the question of the thing of bananas is dead. It's not true. We have to do things differently, right? And I remember last year, I quoted a figure of 200% exports to the UK, and I was challenged. But I mean, as I explained it, I said when Winfresh was looking at the budget for 2017, based on the figures that they had allocated for purchasing bananas from St. Lucia, because we were just recovering from the tropical storm. And I remember speaking to the CEO, and I said, look, I'm not too comfortable with the figures that you're putting there. And he said, look, as long as you can give me good quality bananas and you can come back into production, we're going to buy bananas from you, right? And what we realized is that based on the figures that they had put into the estimates for 2017, as far as transacting business with St. Lucia banana farmers, we went up 200% more than the allocation that it was, and that's the figure I was referring to, right? So it shows that Winfresh is interested, but our farmers, and I've said so, our farmers have to do it differently.
Definitely. That comes right into your lap, Mr. Cornibert.
Indeed.
Well, we moved from, I know it was once with Deco, and we moved to Winfresh. Why the move, and what does Winfresh really mean? What other people are asking?
Okay, Winfresh is by the way, thanks for inviting me here and for this interview. Winfresh is not an acronym. It doesn't, unlike with DECO, which stood for Windward Islands Banana Development and Exporting Company, and WINBAN was Windward Islands Banana Growers Association. Winfresh is not an acronym. I think it was in 2009, we decided to diversify our product base. We were not moving away from bananas because we're still predominantly a banana company. But we decided we needed to do other things. The banana business was getting pretty tough, and survival meant for us as a company that we needed to broaden our scope within the agricultural sector. Now, you couldn't do that with a company that still had bananas as its name. And in fact, one of our customers actually suggested, look, if you want to move in this direction, you perhaps need to change your name. And we were looking for a name that represented in some way still our base, which is the Windward Islands, but at the same time doing something afresh. So the name Winfresh is a name in itself. It is not an acronym, as I said, like with DECO. And we picked up Win. We couldn't make it a very long name. We wanted a short name. We picked up Win from the Windward Islands, and Fresh, meaning a fresh approach to what we were doing. So really and truly, this is what Winfresh stands for.
And what is, I know you explained, but what is the main objective of Winfresh? I know it's supposed to buy bananas from the Windward Islands, etc., but that's the sole purpose?
Not really. Actually, the scope objectives of Winfresh, as outlined in its memorandum of association that was set up by shareholders, is pretty broad. Winfresh can literally do anything. They didn't restrict it, although it started as a banana company. Its scope was not restricted to bananas. Winfresh can actually go into banking if it wants to, or if it needs to. Not suggesting that we do that. Our base is still within the agricultural sector, but we have pretty broad scope within that sector to basically do anything that we want. As long as, in my view, and although it is not restricted to that, we are contributing to the growth and development of the agricultural sector in the Windward Islands. That is what I think is our primary remit. And within that, you could practically do anything that would advance agriculture in the sub-region.
The banana industry is market-driven. Do you have any concerns, Minister, concerning, production from St. Lucia? We're talking about St. Lucia. I mean, right now we're the only island that are producing bananas, fortunately or unfortunately.
The Windward Islands,
the Windward Islands, yes. Yes. But do you have any problems with the way things are happening, the way the marketing structure is arranged, where it benefits the farmers directly?
Well, I'm not too sure I understand what you say.
In other words, I mean, the farmers, we ask the farmers to produce, right? But can this sustain the market? Is the market available?
Well, the market is available. I mean, that's what we just said. The market is available. We have like was just explained, we have the organization with the responsibility to export our bananas to the UK, and that's Winfresh now, and started with Winban, with Deco and Winfresh now. We are seeing that based on figures, every year the usage and the purchasing of bananas is increasing. We all know one of the main challenges that farmers are faced with one of them is reliable markets. So the market is there. When I went out with the Prime Minister, we looked out and we spoke with some of the supermarkets, and they came down here and they met with the Prime Minister and myself. They have given the commitment that they would, so long as we can provide the banana on a sustainable basis with good quality. That's important, right? They will purchase our bananas because there's a demand for it. If you're asking, am I satisfied that we are at a position where we can produce on a sustainable basis? No. We have work to do, and that's why we put the banana project in place. And like I told the banana farmers and I told the officers working in that project, that's the last straw. That's a last attempt, okay? Because the banana market is not waiting for us.
Exactly.
Right? There are a number of companies out there, whilst there's still a level of goodwill, and we have the infrastructure. We have to do things differently. And for the next 2-3 years, we're expecting to increase our productivity, and for our farmers to be able to continue on a sustainable basis, because we cannot continue indefinitely providing the type of support that we're providing right now.
Great. We'll do for our first break. We'll come to that in a while. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
Did you know that government provides duty-free incentives on farm machinery, inputs, irrigation systems, boat engines, boats, and many more? Investing in agriculture, a wise choice.
Welcome back to the program. Mr. Cornibert, you wanted to follow up on a little discussion that the Minister had.
I want to weigh in a little bit on what the Minister has just said, and to support him in some way. We have always, and that is Winfresh, and certainly myself as CEO of Winfresh, have always given the commitment that provided that the farmers deliver the quantity and the quality for us, we will buy every single box of bananas to come from the Windward Islands. We actually have a preference for Windward Islands bananas. However, we cannot run away from the fact that the product has to be good, because we have to serve our customers with good quality product. And secondly, the product has to be cost competitive. These two factors, and just want to make a point that the Minister was in the UK just recently with me. We visited one of our biggest customers in the market. And in the discussion, the buyer made the point that there are two principal weaknesses for the St. Lucia banana industry. One is that the yo-yoing of production is not good for the customer. And he said we could go to Latin America, to West Africa, and buy a certain quantity of bananas every week without it going up and down. Now, we know the structure of the banana industry. It's kind of difficult to do that, but that is a weakness. And the other weakness is the cost of production. At the end of the day, the customer may be committed to taking a certain volume of bananas from St. Lucia, but that volume is going to be limited if the cost of the bananas from St. Lucia compared to bananas from other sources, the gap is too wide. So these things need to be addressed. Now, the customer didn't say anything about quality, because we would never deliver bad quality to the customer. So if we have quality that is coming to us that is not good, we have to intercept it. And that is a problem more for Winfresh than for the customer. What it does, however, is when we have a quality problem and we have to intercept the fruit, it means that we cannot deliver the volume that we are supposed to deliver to the customer. I mean, let me explain. For example, if we are serving, let's take Sainsbury's, which is our biggest customer. We have a weekly contract to supply them with for argument's sake, let's say 8,000 boxes of bananas from St. Lucia. When the bananas come through, we buy 8,000, we expect to deliver 8,000 to the customer. But if we have quality problems, and out of that we can only salvage 5,000 or 6,000, then the customer is going to be short of that, and we have to make it up somehow. So that is the customer didn't mention about quality problems, but quality is a big factor for us. I have also said that despite the fact that the customer is aware that there is that cost gap between St. Lucia bananas and bananas from elsewhere, as Winfresh, we could live with that. We want to increase productivity and reduce costs, but at the same time, we do not want to make this a big issue. For us, there are two big issues, really. And the biggest one is quality, consistency of quality all the time. And secondly, the yo-yoing. We can tolerate a certain movement. We know that our bananas are rain-fed, very little irrigation, so very little in terms of production control. But at the same time, we cannot deal with, for argument's sake, having 8,000 boxes a week and then jumping up to 20,000 within the same time space, like within 6 months or a year. You simply cannot deal with that from a marketing point of view. And so these are some of the issues that we really need to address as a banana industry. I have no, there are structural issues, structural problems within the banana industry that make it difficult to address those things. But at the same time, we should not run away from the fact, and you made the point earlier, this is market driven. Everything comes from the market. We cannot dictate. We are too small to dictate to the market. We take what the market wants. And we need our farmers, our banana farmers, to understand that and to work with us. That's what we want.
Are they understanding that? Because some of the things that are coming from the farmer is that between 30 to 40% of their production are left back. And sometimes they cannot understand. I'm wondering whether they understand that formula you're speaking to.
One of the biggest problems with, and I've been in this banana industry as WinBan representative, for a long time. When I first went to the UK, the biggest quality problems that the industry had, and the industry was completely different from what it is now, were things like scarring and a lot of scruffiness and markings. The bananas just look dreadful. Today, we don't have those problems. The problems are completely different. The biggest quality problem, we call it quality because it falls into that broad category. But the biggest problem that we have is mixed grade. When the bananas go into the rooms for ripening, when they come out, you pick up a box of bananas. All the bananas in that particular box would be of the same color. The color should be uniform. Because we have a color chart. For example, Sainsbury's, they want their bananas color stage, what we call color stage 3. That is, it's still fairly green, but just showing a little bit of yellow. You cannot send them bananas that are of a different color stage. They will reject it. Nothing to do with the quality, simply color. So if we have a box of bananas where half of it is still green, part of it is very yellow, and part of it is somewhere in between, you have no choice but to pay people to sort out all of those. Quality may be good, but you still have to pay people in the depot to take out all the ones that are of different grades and to do a kind of a mixing and matching elsewhere, and that is costing money that we cannot afford. The customer does not want to pay for that.
Okay. See, but coming back to the point of Mr. Sidney Rizan, and I'm happy you have articulated to that point, the question of mixed grade.
Mixed grade.
But one of the problems the farmers are faced with, if when they have the bananas ready to be marketed, they are not being given an opportunity to market the entire production that can be harvested, that will affect quality grade, right? And what we are finding out, and again, we have to look at it seriously. We have this ribbon tagging, right? And the ribbon tagging should be the whole objective of the ribbon tagging is to give information way in advance as to what will be the possible number of boxes that you as a farmer would be able to harvest next 3 months, 2 months. And something is wrong with the information that has been received,
that's the point.
right? Because if the information is correct and your projection is correct, that farmer, all right, or the industry should not be suffering with farmers having not being able to harvest all their fruits. The other problem that we are facing, and I mean, like Bernard said, he has been around long enough, and we have been around long enough, PS and Sydney and myself, that we used to have distinct weather patterns, right? Dry weather, and we used to tell farmers, look, you plant during that month so you can get into production when the fruit is needed, the demand for the fruit. But now, look, for example, let's look at this year. Right? Let's look at this is a typical example. When you should be experiencing dry weather, we still have the rest.
We do for the break. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. Stay tuned.
There are many opportunities in agriculture, and broiler production is one such enterprise. For further information, contact the Veterinary and Livestock Division at 468-5621.
Welcome back. Mr. Cornibert, the question of this mixed breed is posing a problem, as you rightly say. But are the farmers aware? Are they given enough information on to understand that problem that is faced on the other market?
Well, I'm not quite sure. From a Winfresh perspective, we certainly are. This information is available to our extension people or people who are involved in the extension service as to whether this is imported properly or in a way that the farmer understands and can make use of it. Is
because what's out there is that, I mean, Minister can attest to that. People are saying, hey, you harvest 100 boxes, and then at the end of the day, they can only take 50 boxes, and the other 50 stays on their hand.
But we have been trying to educate the farmers. In fact, since coming back, I've met with Winfrey, I've met with Mr. Cornibert, but we have discussed that matter. One have to understand and appreciate that there's a limitation when it comes to the special packs.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Not the special packs. The bags.
The bags. Well, that's why you call it special.
Yeah.
packs.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what the farmers call it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But farmers they're reluctant into going into the loose fruits. And based on my information, Mr. Cornibert is there, he can attest to that. Based on my information, there's no big difference when it comes to the price.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Now,
in fact, there is no difference.
there's no difference.
They are paid the same price for a box of bananas, whether it is in a bag or it is loose. Okay. The only difference is that they are refunded the cost of the bag.
Okay.
And they are paid for bagging it, the labor for bagging it. In other words, the money that they receive is more, but that is because they have to do more.
Okay. Okay.
So they see it as a better price.
And
that's how they see it. They see it as a better price.
Price.
You know? And we have to start encouraging our farmers to go into loose fruit because there's any limit as in the number of...
But this is an important point the minister is making there, because if we are going to increase production, and we have no difference...
We are going to.
Of necessity, we have said that. A part of it, or depending on how much we increase it by, maybe a large part of it, maybe 50% or even more of it, has to be packed as loose bananas.
Yeah.
But a lot of the farmers do not want to pack loose bananas. So the limitation is not really on the volume of bananas that we can take. It is on the packs that they are currently doing. These are limited. The customers do not want us to... each of the bags that they pack for us, each of the product bags, it is specific. It is for a specific volume. The customer has an order for 5,000 boxes of these particular things. If you want to, they also have demand, which is even greater for loose bananas. At the moment, all of our loose bananas are done. We take it from Ghana, from Dominican Republic, and other places. We need farmers to go back to packing loose bananas.
Okay.
And that's my concern, eh?
Yes.
Because we are increasing production.
But that's my point,
right?
yeah, yes.
And if we have limitations as to the bag fruits that we can sell, we go have a problem in the field.
Definitely.
Because heritage farmers would not be able to sell the bananas if they're not accepting and appreciating that they can go into the loose fruits. I think the problem is the question of to retrain them or we train persons in being able to pack the loose fruits.
Definitely.
And we have spoken about it, and we're going to start doing it. But farmers have to understand that as far as the special packs and the bags are concerned, there are limitations.
Definitely. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I know the project is going to be having farmers to increase the acreage, right? Another 500 acres.
This year
You
alone.
understand? So that's more production on your hands. You understand?
Yeah.
So something has to be given so the farmers can understand, hey, you only need to do A because it's not, thing as usual. Things are changed, So the regional market, Mr. Cornibert, say for example, are you all targeting the regional market, Barbados, St. Vincent, Grenada, other places that need bananas presently?
Well, one of the things, I mean, the regional market is quite a sizable market now. There was a time when we, as Winfresh, decided, okay, allow sort of the local entities to deal with the regional market. But it has created a lot of problems. And so we wanted to go back into the regional market in a more organized way. Okay. We have 1 or 2 traders in Trinidad. We said, listen, we are going to give you bananas. And here's the problem that I have with the regional market. When the standards that are accepted or acceptable in the regional market is different from what we want from the UK, it creates problems. And therefore, you need to have one standard. So we said we have one trader in Trinidad, he's quite happy, he's dealing with us. And we said, look, we're going to give you the same bananas that we're sending to the UK. Okay? We'll agree a price. And we have been experimenting with that. And we send it in a special, we have a new Winfresh box. Until we do that, I think the regional market is going to be problematic. Because you cannot have an industry where you have different standards. For me, one of the things that you can do, and this is something that we can help organize because we see it working in other places, is to have category 1 and category 2. You are buying category 2 bananas. Okay, they do it in the Dominican Republic, and they sell it. They sell the category 2 product. The price is different, right? But it is, if you like, it is you don't put all your bananas in one box and sell it as one price. Okay, if the quality is not so good, you might be able to do things. So you put that as category 2 and maybe take a couple dollars less for that, knowing that the bulk of your bananas actually would be sold as category 1 premium product for which you're going to get the best price. We need to introduce those kinds of standards and insist on those standards. And for me, this is where I think the industry falls short sometimes. We are too, I wouldn't say sort of lax about standards, but we are not insistent enough that we have to adhere to those standards.
Well, gentlemen, we have come to the end of the program, eh?
Well, that's what I bring one point there. Before you close quickly, the hypocrites.
Yes.
And as Mr. Cornibert said, I had the opportunity to meet with the only supermarket that is still purchasing bananas from us in cardboard boxes, right? And they have indicated to me as the minister, while they would have no problems in delaying the time they would want to convert from cardboard boxes to hypocrites, but that's a reality that we have to face. Now, I'm hearing that the UK government is saying that, look, they're going to have a policy where they're going to ban plastic, but we have not reached that stage yet. And I was told that that's a business decision. Right, so I just want to at least clear the air on that, because it has been said it's Winfresh that is moving from cardboard boxes to plastic. But as Mr. Cornibert said earlier, is the demands of the market. And the management of the supermarket told me clearly it's a business decision, and if we want to continue dealing with them, we have to understand it's a business decision. So I'm hoping that as sooner than later that the UK government can make that policy a legal policy where they ban plastics and we can see we continue with the boxes, if that is a reality. But we have to face that.
No, you got to go further. You have to end it here. Because we're going further.
That's okay. You don't have to. But just to make the point, the plastic that the government is targeting is not. This is what they're doing there is really recyclable plastic. The targets, the plastic they're targeting are the ones that are non-recyclable. Because what happens is that, and I think there's a kind of a misconception. When we send the bananas to the UK in the IFCO crates, it comes to us in the IFCO crates, it goes to the supermarket, it doesn't come back to us. It goes to the IFCO manufacturer.
For recycling.
So we send a box of bananas, say, for example, to Sainsbury's. We don't want to collect this box. This box goes to the manufacturer. We take another set from the manufacturer. And they have a thing. Once the crate has reached a certain, it has made a certain number of journeys.
Then that's it. Okay. All right, gentlemen, we have to close it right there.
They recycle it.
We have to close it right. Thank you for being here. I don't think I'll ask you all to make any final words because we are going beyond that. Thank you, Dwayne, for that. You've been watching Agriculture on the Move. Thank you for viewing. And remember, agriculture is the business and it's our business. And eat fresh. It's in Lucia's best. I'm Phillip Sydney saying goodbye.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.